Good evening and welcome to the September 19th council meeting. Excuse me, if you'd please stand, Councilman Mark Lucio is going to lead us in the flag salute.
Please put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now, I have to explain why we're in yellow T-shirts. So we're way underdressed. Well, last council meeting, we had a presentation by the Let It Be Foundation, and they presented us all with yellow T-shirts and requested that we wear them at this council meeting. So that's why we're in T-shirts. I never wear T-shirts in public, so this is embarrassing. But it's for a good cause. Okay, our first presentation this evening is the recognition of the Chino National Little League, Junior League, California District 23 All-Star Champions. Chino National is the oldest Little League in Chino Valley. They're celebrating their 70th anniversary this year. They have coached, mentored, and developed many players over the last 70 years who have gone on to play college and professional baseball and have become city officials. Chino National Junior Division has had a wonderful all-star season. They competed against other Little Leagues within District 23 and brought home the Junior Division Championship with a record of 5-0. This team scored 69 runs in 5 games, only allowing 24 runs in the tournament. Chino National had not won a district championship since 2017. The team accomplished this victory through team play, discipline, and a lot of heart. Congratulations to the players, manager, coaches, and team mom on a well-earned and deserved District 23 championship. Now I'd like to call up head coach Tyrone Scott, assistant coaches Vincent Alamillo and Robert Gonzalez, and team mom Allison Turner Scott. I would also like you to know that it is Allison's birthday today. So let's all join in and sing her happy birthday. Ready? Begin. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Allison. Happy birthday to you. Okay. And Tyrone, would you like to read the names of the players? But first, I have to give you a certificate of congratulations. Vincent, Robert.
Thank you. Oh, you
Thank you. First one is Anthony Areola. Adam Chavez. Curtis Chang. Carson Cisneros. Sergio Gonzalez. Robbie Laurinaitis. I'm not going to get it. Anthony Mejia. Daniel Rona. Alejandro Palacios. Brian Scott. Joshua Solario. and Corey Wilson. Now hand this off to you.
Tell us about your year.
Well, it was a fantastic year. The boys definitely worked hard, and it was a tough choice to pick 12 amongst, I believe we had 28 players in the league. And Mr. Tyrone and Mr. Robert Gonzalez, the other manager of the other team, selected the 12. And like I said, they came together, and they deserved it. And so hopefully the success will continue, and we'll see them next season. And thank you, Mayor, for all your work for us, for our fields and our school district. Thank you all for your participation. Ms. Comstock, thank you. I appreciate it very much.
We appreciate everything that you do, and we appreciate the fact that we have kids in our community that are active and good, healthy kids. We just love you guys, and we love recognizing you. Now, we're going to get a picture, so have them all come in. Maybe get down in front. Yeah. Have them kneel down. Some of them kneel down.
Where we lined up for the picture.
You're going to have to get down because you're too tall. Down.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to just kneel.
You guys are tall.
First knees, and then the rest just squat over.
Oh, that's cool with the banner. That's cool.
And then
You're going to have to get down, sweetie. Thank you again. Thank you so much. Next, we have recognition of Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez's City of Chino Veteran and Woman of the Year. These two individuals were recognized as Chino's Veteran of the Year and Chino's Woman of the Year by Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez. This evening, we would like to honor them both for their outstanding achievements. First, we recognize Kenny Willett for being named Chino's Veteran of the Year. Kenny, would you please join me? Kenny, call up any family members that you have, bring them up as well. They're not here, okay. Kenny served in the Marine Corps from 1962 to 1984. He spent his first 6 years of active duty on a helicopter squadron and was in the 1st Marine Corps helicopter squadron to spend an entire year in Vietnam. He's been a life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars since 1967 and was one of the first Vietnamese veterans to lead a Veterans of Foreign War post, Vietnam veterans, to lead a Veterans of Foreign War post. In 2016, Kenny played a key role in bringing the moving Vietnam Memorial Wall to Ayala Park for 5 days. That was very moving, I remember that. The City of Chino is grateful for Kenny's service to our country and his contributions to our community. And Kenny, our certificate of recognition reads, for being honored by Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez, 53rd District, as the Veteran of the Year in the City of Chino. We commend you for your contributions and service to our country. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words? You don't want to say a few words? He doesn't even want to say a few words. Okay, picture. Kenny is also the bingo player for the senior club. Bingo caller, not player. Yeah, so he's well loved by the seniors. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we recognize Renee Mehta for being honored as Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez's City of Chino Woman of the Year. Renee, will you please join me and bring your family? And your family, too. That's okay. This is being recorded on TV, so you can also get it off the TV. So come on up. Renee is an active community engagement and partnership professional. As the Workforce Development Director for the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce, she's played a pivotal role in enhancing our local workforce and fostering progress in the Inland Empire. Renee served as partnership specialist for the U.S. Census Bureau and lead of education for San Bernardino County, Imperial County, and Riverside County. She's currently part of the Business Leaders Fellowship program offered by the U.S. Chamber for leaders across the country in workforce development. Renee is passionate for community engagement and presentation in the Inland Empire. The City of Chino applauds Renee for her instrumental commitment and contributions to the community. And your certificate, you're welcome, reads, you're honored for being honored by Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez, 53rd District, as the Woman of the Year of the City of Chino. And this is presented today by myself and the council, and of course, you have to say a few words. And introduce your family.
Sure. Okay, I get very nervous, but I'm going to do this because I'm Woman of the Year. So I really appreciate, thank you so much, Mayor and members of the council, as well as a wonderful staff for the City of Chino for recognizing this. It is a big honor. And then also want to take this moment to thank my mom and dad. They've really have sacrificed a lot, and they've given us strong wings, and so they're letting us all fly, and you guys sacrifice so much, and I really appreciate it, and there's not enough thank yous for what you do, so thank you so much. Along with my wonderful village here, my brothers, my sister, my sister-in-laws, the kiddos, you guys all make really a big impact in my life, and I'm very, very blessed to have all of you. Also, I want to give a big shout out to an inspiring leader, Zeb Wellborn. He's very much inspired me to do all the things that I've been able to do, and then also goes on to all my beautiful ladies at the chamber. You guys are all so strong, and it's such a pleasure to work alongside you every single day. Thank you so much for motivating me and helping me in my highs and my lows. I really appreciate it. So the beginning of the year, I read this quote from Mahatma Gandhi, which said that in order to find yourself, you have to lose yourself in the service of others. And I spent a whole year doing that, and it's been very impactful and very much a big part of who and what I do. But that also leads to, because I work harder to be a better person for these two boys right here. These two boys are a big part of my life, and I'm so blessed to be your mom, and always going to do the best I can to be the best mom and best person ever. So thank you so much. I really just feel like this is the beginning. We're going to do a lot more together, so thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, now we're going to have a picture.
All right, you guys are going to grab a picture.
You have to get a picture. Come on back.
With the team, for the chamber.
Chamber.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. We openly talk about how Chino is family-oriented, and this is an example. Okay, next we have another special presentation. Is there two? Waste Management Retirement. We would like to recognize Waste Management Senior Driver Artemio Tovar for his remarkable 44 years of service in Chino. Artemio, come on up and bring your family. Come on up. Glenda and Glenda Chavez. Hi. Artemio joined the Chino Waste Management team in 1979. He has taken pride in witnessing the city's remarkable transformation over the years. Artemio has left a mark on the city of Chino, earning recognition from both loyal customers and city staff alike. His trademark is his smile, a testament to his work ethic, as he is an exceptional team member who will be greatly missed by his customers and his colleagues. The city of Chino thanks Artemio for his many years of dedicated service to the Chino community. We wish him a fulfilling retirement, spent with his wife, 3 daughters, and 8 grandchildren. And we have a certificate for 44 years of service with Waste Management. Thank you for your commitment in providing excellent customer service to the Chino community. Now, would you like to say?
Okay. So, this is Amos, and you're in the council also for me. That's fine?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. See. Well, it's a bittersweet moment for us at the WM team here in Chino. If there's someone who really represents what we stand for day to day, it is Artemio. Not only by his dedication to providing great customer service, but because he is also an exceptional team member who we could all rely on. If we're having a bad day, that smile, I can't tell you how many times it picked me up. And, just hearing how he touches even the mayor's life and everyone's, he's seen the city grow from our dairies to what it is now. And he takes extremely great joy to be part of this community. And even though he is retiring, I'm sure he will still see him, but we're excited that he gets to enjoy his family now. Thank you all for being here on this special day, and thank you for lending him to us for 44 years. I know his job is not easy. He has to make sure he's safe and that he, gets back home every day. So we appreciate your commitment to his career with us. So thank you again. Do you want to introduce the family? He won't. He won't. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm the oldest, and this is my mom. That's pulled strong to back him up in everything that he does, and keep him smiling every day, and even through the bumpy roads, he's always smiling. So he's a great example of a man, and I get to say he's my dad. So, and this is my little sister. My middle sister couldn't be here today. These are all the grandkids, my husband, her husband, and we're missing 2 more grandbabies. So thank you for everyone that's here to hear our story, and we're going to take them home with us and enjoy the years we didn't have them.
I want to say something,
Yes.
but let me speak to Glenda.
Okay. Glenda, he wants you to interpret.
Oh, okay.
Glenda, yo les quiero decir a todos que muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes que trabajaron por mucho tiempo para hacer posible esta bonita ceremonia.
He wants to thank everyone who made this day possible, the city, the staff, for allowing him to be recognized today. He really does appreciate that.
También les quiero decir Okay. Ok, quiero decirle gracias a todos los policías de Chino porque trabajamos aquí por muchos años y nunca nos molestaron, ¿verdad? Nos miraron en calles prohibidas y nunca nos pararon, nunca nos dieron un tiquete. So, muchísimas gracias a todos ustedes por eso. Ya. Y a todos les doy las gracias, ¿verdad? A la compañía por haberme dado trabajo durante 44 años. Estoy muy agradecido, ¿verdad? Con ellos y con todos ustedes también estoy muy agradecido. Y pues con mi familia, ¿verdad? La quiero mucho y pues aquí se las presento a todos ustedes, ¿eh? Muchísimas gracias. Muchísimas gracias.
She wants a picture, photo. Here, come in a little bit so she can get everybody in. Come here, Glenda.
Things for putting over here.
He wants his poster.
You want your poster? Okay. You want to hold that up? Oh, my gosh. Oh, look at that. It's a big, big poster that was signed by all of his fellow employees. That is really nice. Wow. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, all my partners, they write something
That's
over there.
nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, good luck in your retirement.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Pleased to see you again.
Yes,
Okay?
yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, one more.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, okay? Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to receive an annual report from the Inland Empire or Inland Valley Humane Society. I'd like to call it Nicole Braciani. I apologize. And I'm going to return up to this.
All right. Well, good evening, Madam Mayor, council members, city staff, and community members. My name is Nicole Bresciani. I am the president and CEO of the Inland Valley Humane Society and SPCA. We've been around only a few years, since 1949. We celebrate our 75th anniversary next year. We are a private, nonprofit animal welfare organization that provides full-service animal care and control to 12 agencies and 1 sheltering contract. We have about 1 million people in our service area. I want to start tonight. There's a lot of misinformation and things that go around about what shelter's purpose is and the no-kill versus what is considered the high-kill shelters. We don't subscribe to that kind of jargon. The no-kill community has its place. But back in 2015, those of you that were on the council at that time committed to a resolution of getting to zero, which is zero euthanasia of healthy adoptable animals. We reached that goal in 2017, 3 years ahead of schedule, and we have continued on that path. So while a lot of focus in the media is on the high euthanasia rate across the nation, I want to celebrate and say that last year, as an organization, we had an 80% live release rate. A no-kill, quote unquote, is considered 90%. And being an open admission, full access shelter, 80% is quite remarkable, and we continue to do good work. The services that IVHS provides, 24/7 animal care and control services, pet licensing, low-cost vet services, adoptions, wildlife audits and relocation, disaster support, humane education, and TNVR. I know there's some confusion about the TNVR program because for years we've been doing it for free. Unfortunately, as we transitioned to opening up our new medical center this year, we started seeing a lot of abuse of the system, cats coming from out of jurisdiction. For those of you who don't know what TNVR is, it means trap, neuter, or spay, vaccinate, and release. Those are the community cats that are stray, free-roaming cats in the community. They're are not considered owned cats by anybody, but yet a community feeds them and they own them. So it's definitely a hot topic item as there's no mandate by the state of California to handle cats. At the same time, we take them in because it's the humane thing to do and we help the stranded, homeless, abandoned, and injured cats. And so we transitioned from a free service to charging $70 a cat. And we have still maintained that we're still doing those services, and that, you know, we had a meeting with city management and talked about, we plan on bringing that program back for free, but that we need to do some targeted data on hotspot mapping in order to put some good resources to a bad problem. There's no reason to put good money towards a bad problem if you can't figure out where the problem is. And we're not diverting cats from the shelter, as I will show you. Last year, we handled over 1 million calls. We have a new phone system, and so we've been triaging how to put people through the customer care queue in order to provide the best customer service. Our calls are under 4 minutes when people are on hold. And if there are any issues, we do record our lines, so we ask that you let us know if there's an issue and we can triage it. I'll get there. Last year, our Humane and Animal Control team handled 28,000 calls for service. As a Humane Society and SPCA, we do have humane officers and animal control officers. There's a different designation and additional training and certification that goes along with that. It's not something, humane officers are not employed by city, municipal, or county agencies. And we adopted out over 3,000 animals last year. Typically, in a, I would say, pre-COVID year, we adopt out about 4,000 annually, and we're trending to do that this year. Our veterinary services team performed over 20,000 procedures and services. We are very fortunate. If you have not seen the news, there is a veterinary service shortage. There is a veterinarian shortage. There is a registered vet tech shortage. We are fortunate to have 5 veterinarians, and we did have a lull where we lost some staff, and we're bringing some back on for support staff, so we're hoping to boost those numbers. Want to talk about a few highlights for the organization: our foster program, the community outreach and education that we're doing, our DocuPet partnership for licensing, campus improvements to the shelter, and new programs. Last year, we did over 1,800 foster animals. So these are animals that might normally be euthanized in a traditional shelter setting because they are unweaned. Puppies and kittens cannot survive in a shelter environment. There's too much disease that they can catch. And so this was one of our favorites, Ruth Bader Kittensburg. And yes, we name all of our animals. For those of you who don't know, we have a therapy pet program. We have our resident, we'll say a foster fail. That's what we call the animals that never leave because we take them home ourselves. Jam is her name, and has a sibling named Jelly, and goes out to hospitals, retirement centers. We've been working with a memory care group. It's amazing, and you know, studies show that it reduces anxiety and stress. So it's been a great program. So we launched our DocuPet licensing program in May of 2022. For the entire fiscal year, I am pleased to announce that we have an 82% compliance rate for licensing on renewals, and the average is national average is 68.9%. Licenses for this last fiscal year improved over the last 3 years, so that's good news, not only for compliance but also for revenue that offsets city costs. Some campus improvements. Many of you may know that William Harford is my father and had spent 41 years as the former president and CEO of the Inland Valley Humane Society. The board, as his retirement gift, named the building after him after dedicated service. So in the background, we can see our new medical center being built. Before we could build that, we had to infill a flood control channel from LA County Flood Control. So this is, and relocate the Pomona Police Department training road. So this road used to run down the middle of the medical center. We now have moved that road from Humane Way onto Mission. And so now we have new parking for our fleet and an access road for Pomona Police Department. We went through new awnings, new rain gutters, a whole bunch of things to divert the weather and the elements away from our customers and our animals. This is a picture of our new parking lot. We moved our entrance, our egress, ingress, closer to the sanitation district. That's what's north of us. We actually added parking spaces, so that was an improvement. Much needed for those of you who've been to the shelter. And this is our beautiful new Alex and Elizabeth Lewitt Medical Center. It's a 2-story, state-of-the-art facility. I want to thank the City Council and the staff. You came out in strong support at our grand opening, and it did not go unnoticed, so thank you very much. This is the front lobby for those of you who have not been. We do take appointments for vaccinations, spay and neuter, and we do our monthly vaccine clinic on site. And then we do the TNVR program on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is a picture of one of our exam rooms. These pictures, all the artwork inside the medical center are all of our former foster fails or adoptions, all shelter pets in our care. Some new programs that we have going on. Something that we found is that adoptions in general are down, and the transports are also down. So when we're talking about a pipeline issue, when we're taking in more animals, but we're not being able to get more animals out, we had to come up with some creative programming. So now we have, usually it's the 3rd Wednesday of the month, but we had our annual Dogleg Classic Golf Tournament yesterday. So staff was pretty tapped, so we moved that event to next Wednesday. It is Bark After Dark, and we added Happy Meower for those of you who think that we don't have cats in our care. These are free adoptions. We are only doing adoptions from this point because the shelter is closed otherwise. So it's Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. The next one will be Wednesday, September 27th. And it has been hugely successful. We are running our play groups in tandem with this so people can see some of our larger dogs in action. We have gotten out a lot of our longer stay dogs that are harder to place, so that's been amazing. We have a 2-for-2 on select animals that have been in our care longer. You foster a dog, you want to take it home, whether you think you'll love it, whether you think you might want to try it out or just give it an opportunity to be marketed. If you take that specific animal home for 2 weeks, we're going to give you $200 if you've done all the requirements, which is basically to post it on social media and really promote it. We're really proud of a new program that we launched. So we actually had a company come out and do a 4-day training for staff to teach our staff how to run play groups. For those of you who have large dogs, you can see that we have Shepherds and Huskies in this picture because the 3 top breeds in our care are Shepherds, Huskies, and Pit Bulls. It used to always be Pit Bulls. Shepherds are the #1 breed these days. These are high energy, loving, devoted family dogs, but if you do not make sure they get enough enrichment and energy, they will drive you crazy and chew up your whole house. So we are now running play groups to help with kennel stress, anxiety. It helps us evaluate dog-to-dog aggression, people-to-dog aggression, and our dogs, all of the dogs in our care are getting out once or twice a week, so it's been amazing. It helps the animals calm down and show better in the kennels because a lot of times when people are coming through, it's a stressful environment. Dogs are coming at the kennels, and immediately somebody thinks that's not an adoptable animal. And by the end of the day, when we have people walking through, they're like, oh, that dog's really tired. Yes, it just had a play group. So it's been amazing. All of our dogs are getting enrichment, so they get toys. We have a Toy Train Tuesday. We pull the train through, and they get toys, and we throw them over the fence. It's amazing. So, and a kudos to our volunteers because they're just so dedicated and amazing, and we wouldn't be able to do it without them. One of the programs we have been running is a daycation program. So if you can't figure out if you're ready to commit to adopting, you can't figure out if you want to foster, but you definitely want maybe some stress-free afternoon, you can come and you can sign up for our daycation program, take a dog out. This dog was taken out and went to Benelli Park. All the dogs on the daycation program have an Adopt Me leash, so we're letting the public know that the dog is available for adoption at any point. So tomorrow we are launching our new website. Here's your sneak preview. One of the things that we're trying to do better is market our services and programs and make sure we're getting all of the information out. I can't tell you how many people I know that have never been to the shelter, do not know where we're located, and I grew up in Chino. So we are really trying to do a better job of not being a secret to the community. All right, stats, because everybody loves stats. So for the city of Chino, In 2022, we took in 1,406 animals. This year, we are trending to take in 1,638. Last year, we had 2,580 calls for service. This year, we are looking at 2,756 calls for service. Last year, we did 321 adoptions. This year, we are trending at 392. Last year, we had 114 redemptions. This year, 115 redemptions. Last year, we had 89 transfers. When I say transfers, we have a robust network of shelter partners, whether those are private nonprofit rescue groups or actual other shelters that don't have enough domestic animals to adopt out. We are running transports every day. We have transfer partners with Petco, PetSmart in all of these communities, and it's amazing, but the transfers have been down year over year, and so part of that issue is insurance. I don't think I need to tell everybody there's an insurance crisis going on in California. And so that continues to plague nonprofits because there's breed restrictions, bite restrictions, et cetera. We continue to be fortunate, but it's something we're vigilant about. So last year, 89 transfers. This year, 75 we're trending to do. Last year, we had 140 cruelty calls, and this year we are trending at 200. Last year, we had 230 barking and nuisance calls, and this year we're trending to do 272 of those calls. Last year, we had 96 bite complaints. Thankfully, this year we're trending at 48, so that's less. And all animals combined, all of our service cities, we did about 13,000 animals last year, and we are trending to be somewhere between 10 and 15,000. So I wouldn't say 10, we're trending to be 13 to 15,000. So we are going more, we're moving less animals. We are basically taking in 100 more animals a month and not having roads to push them through, right? The pipeline is squeezing, and it's affecting shelters all across the country, not just us. I'm really proud of our staff because we continue to do more for the animals. We are not euthanizing animals based on a calendar date, a space and time. It is based on public safety issues, sickness, health, and the behavior issues that go along with public safety. We have been entrusted with animal care and control in this community, so we have to make sure that if we're adopting a dog out or transferring it to another partner, that we are being responsible about that dog's behavior. And so the staff is doing great work, but I will tell you the length of stay for animals is increasing. We're at 43 days for cats, 24 days for dogs, and to put it into perspective, we're only legally required to hold them for 3. So we are not, I repeat, we are not euthanizing for space and time. It is based on the condition of the animals. And we continue to monitor them for kennel stress, anxiety, and I can't say enough about the team and the fact that every day we're looking to provide the most positive outcomes for these animals. So at that point, I will say thank you very much. And I cannot press upon the strength of the partnership. We're always looking to maintain positive partnerships and improve our partnerships with our cities. And I want to thank the police department. We've had a great working relationship with them and also city staff. So I will take any questions if you have any.
Nicole, I do have one question. If someone is interested in adopting a dog, but they already have a dog, do you have any kind of program where the 2 or 3, whatever, can get introduced to see if it's going to work before they go through the whole adoption procedure?
Yeah, we recommend that if they are going to have another dog, when they have a current dog at their house, that they come and do a social with that dog. We can't do socials with dogs that haven't cleared their stray hold. So if you're interested in a dog but it doesn't become available tomorrow, we can't do any interaction until tomorrow comes. But because our inventory changes so much and people have their eyes set on a specific animal, I recommend that they just call one of our adoption coordinators or look online and they can see notes. Sometimes there's specific notes. Sometimes it'll just say, great to be with a single family, like don't put me with another dog, right? Yeah. But we have detailed notes on the back end. And so we can take a look at that and help somebody, especially if there's a specific animal you have in mind. Our team does a really good job of trying to place the animal in their forever home. We don't want you to adopt a dog and then bring it back. But having said that, we have a 30-day return policy, which is very generous compared to some of the other shelters. But we believe that we don't want you to be saddled with an animal that you've done everything to make it work. We have 2 weeks post-adoption care with VCA. We have a partnership with VCA for that. So if you end up getting the dog and it has a condition that maybe we didn't know about, you can always take it to VCA through those 2 weeks and make it work. We also do scholarships for behavior with Good Pups. So if you adopt a dog out, dog is exhibiting major behavior issues and you're concerned, we ask that you try that out before you bring him back.
Okay. Council questions or comments? Curtis?
I know this surprises you. Out of the 140 cruelty cases, how many of those were actually founded?
How many of those are actually found to be cruelty?
Yeah.
I don't know, because some of those are also duplicate calls, right? So they're calls for cruelty, but sometimes they're check condition calls that 2 neighbors have called on, so it might be a duplicate, but they're multiple calls. So I don't have that, but I can get that for you.
And when IVHS responds to these, do you contact the police department to get backgrounds on the homes to see if they've had any issues like that in the past?
So typically what happens is on an initial call for service on a check condition, we will go out, we'll check priors in our own system. And then when we start to see if there's an issue when we go out, then we start working the case, and then it goes down the rabbit hole, and depending upon if we need PD assistance, we'll get them involved.
And out of those cruelty calls that you received, if you're aware, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, any search warrants in the city of Chino in the last year for these particular calls?
I'm going to look back at my director of operations, but I do not believe, because I'm usually told if we're going out on a search warrant.
Yeah,
So.
great. Out of the 96 bites, have we had anything, major, significant in the city of Chino where limbs have been?
Not in this
Torn up?
fiscal year.
Okay, great. I have no other questions, thanks.
Anything else from council? We had a couple of ladies last meeting with lots of questions about stray cats. I would like to invite them up, if they're here, to ask any questions.
Oh,
of
yeah,
you.
we're old friends. We know how this works.
Yes, ma'am. No, you need to come on up so we can get you on tape.
I wasn't able to be here at the last city council meeting. This is the first I had heard IVHS has been here, first time doing all of this. I apologize.
It's okay.
I did fill out one of my cards. I just didn't have a chance to turn it in.
Okay.
My name's Sarah Hernandez. I've lived in the city of Chino for about 2 years now. I volunteer with multiple different rescues and do independent TNR and have been utilizing your guys' program. I have been able to get about 10 different cats from 3 different colonies TNR'd. I have taken to social media to kind of explain TNR. One of the first times I set my traps up, somebody stole it within an hour. So I took to social media to kind of explain what TNR is, and the response that I had was absolutely overwhelming of how many people, business owners and private homeowners alike, are struggling with the feral cat problem. It is way more than I even thought was going on, and I personally am somebody who's watching and paying attention for it. The impact when it went from Monday through Thursday to only being Tuesdays and Thursdays was massive. It went from me, because there's a window for drop-off time and there's a window for pickup time. When you go to bring a cat in for these programs, you will have either rented a humane trap that they have available if you leave a blank check. I couldn't do that because I don't have checks. I just don't.
We
use
do
a
credit
checking
deposit
account.
now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. So I was able to secure my own traps, and I had a business who really wanted my partnership with this. They were scared of the diseases that the cats were going to bring, as they have domestic animals of their own, and we're concerned about transmission of diseases and just, odor, cats getting hit nonstop. So I paired with this business, but within 1 day of putting on social media that I was trying to help with this program, I had no less than 20 people reach out to me asking, can you do this? I can't do it. Tuesdays and Thursdays don't work for me. That time doesn't work. And I got lucky. I've got kids in 2 different schools in the district, and I can drop them off and zip right over there, but it went from being about a 30 to 45-minute wait to over 2 hours sometimes. That you are waiting out in the hot sun with no seating, and as me being a little bit mobility limited, it was a bit difficult. But I understand that it's kitten season. You guys have to take care of everybody in-house first. But it did present a big barrier to being able to get things done. I really appreciate the explanation that you're looking into abuse of the program and making sure that people are utilizing it correctly. I'd be interested to know what kind of research you're going to be doing to that, and if those results are going to be made accessible to the other rescues that work on this problem, as this was the only free resource in the area, and IVHS serves 6 different cities. The only other option is about Ontario Spay and Neuter, which is about $80 out of pocket, and you have to be there by a certain time too, which if you try to drive, you can't get from IVHS to Ontario Spay and Neuter in time. If you've already caught a cat, had it overnight, gone to all of this effort, and then can't pay out of pocket, to not be able to then take care of that animal, re-release them and re-trap them can be really problematic. And even if you're not a pet owner, the cat thing goes, it's got a lot of ripples to it. You know, even if you don't own animals of your own, there's transmission of diseases, there's threat to people, there's a lot of different parts that play into it. So I feel like losing this service as a free service, as you guys were the only ones offering it, is going to have a lot of other impacts. And as far as the animal cruelty calls, businesses are getting to a point where they're desperate. You know, if I can't catch them and get them fixed, can I kill them? Can I, you know, I've had people ask these very abrupt questions because it's a problem that there's no way to solve. When I first moved here dealing with stray animals, I walked over to City Hall and was like, hey, I've got this dog. I think I know where he goes, but I don't really know. Who do I call? And they're like, call IVHS. And then you wait on hold, and the prompts weren't super clear. There wasn't a direct way to get answers. And it seems like IVHS is doing so much all at the same time, and so many of these programs I'm really excited to hear about and look forward to getting into. I've had a great partnership with you guys, but I do have a lot of concerns about this program because it takes me out of the equation. I can't do $70 out of pocket. I was making it so that it was difficult to have gas for the other needs to get through the week because I'm spending hours volunteering, bringing my young kids with me sometimes to do drop-off and pickup. And I know if it's a barrier to me, and I really want to do it because I don't have a 9-to-5, I can only imagine the barriers that it puts to other people and the consequences that the animals will face for not having that service accessible to the general public. So I would like to suggest that, you know, it's looked into maybe funding from other things going towards vouchers. You know, you said that you handle the animal licensing. Part of being a responsible animal owner, I would think that some of those funds maybe go towards spaying and neutering of animals that don't have access to those services through owners, or that there may be other ways to look into it so that we don't lose that really important service, essentially.
We do have other people to speak,
Yep.
Sarah, thank you.
I was one of the ladies last week. Hi, Nicole. I'm Donna Marchese.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to officially meet you.
Yes, we
Okay,
correspond
Donna, speak
late
into
at
the
night.
microphone.
Oh, we correspond late at night about issues. But we met with Jackie. Where's Jackie? Jackie's here. Jackie's somewhere. We're trying to get a group together in
Donna,
town.
speak into the
Oh.
microphone.
Get up here. We're trying to get a group together in town to try to help these people. We're trying to get people that are willing to trap. We're trying to get some other resources. Jackie's going to try to help us to get the ASPCA spay and neuter van out here. They do for
Yes.
free. We're trying to get some vets on board to give some free services. So let's all get together instead of us all working separately.
Sure.
You'd think I was Italian, wouldn't you? So give me your name and your number.
Okay.
And when you run into somebody, then we'll all start to form this coalition and see if we can help these people that are swamped.
Yeah, absolutely. You
'Cause
guys
I-
are trying to do so much for so many cities, and I understand having to make sure you take care of the ones that are on board, so I don't want it to come off as like IVHS.
Yeah, because
You guys are great.
right now I got a guy across the street feeding and breeding, and they're coming to my house late at night looking for scraps.
Yep.
So,
Nicole, it is a problem, and $70 per cat is just too expensive for people to afford for a cat that's not even theirs.
Yeah, so as I explained to city management, it's not a permanent solution by any means, but we also can't be all things to all people. So there's a lot of factors that are going on, and I want to speak plainly and honestly. You have a perfect storm of what happened during COVID was a population explosion. So the Veterinary Medical Association basically said spay and neuter is not an essential service. So that pretty much stopped for a lot of agencies. And so then what happened is that you also had backyard breeding because people were trying to make money to survive, rightfully so, right? Survival's important, got to pay the bills. And then now we have come into this veterinary shortage. So and I know this from personal experience. When I went to a veterinarian during COVID, I had a new puppy. I adopted her from the shelter. I already had an existing relationship with my veterinarian, and I needed shots. Well, that was going to be a minimum of a 90-minute appointment, And I understand that because the veterinarians also had to limit their appointments and they had to maximize their money, right? So it's a dynamic that has affected all shelters, all animal welfare groups, private citizens, and now you have this overpopulation issue and everybody's screaming at the shelters. And the reality is there are a lot of dynamics happening at the community level. People are getting kicked out of their properties, there's breed restrictions, there's insurance issues, there's lack of access to affordable veterinary care. You are not wrong, but I also have veterinary salaries and things that I have to pay for that are, TNR is not covered by city contracts. And even if I had the additional resources, because right now, it doesn't come down to money, it comes down to table space. If I have 55 cats, not all of which are from my service areas, taking up time on a table when I have all of these foster kittens and puppies coming back for health checks and surgery, and 190 dogs and 200 cats, which is what I currently have today in-house, I don't have enough staffing from the veterinary team, because when you lose the support staff, you lose the ability to have all that time. So trust me when I say this was the last thing I wanted to do. I mean, even my medical director, she's like, but I love doing TNR because it's the community service and it keeps things flowing, and it is a diversion. The intention was to have it be a diversion program. Right. If we are fixing these cats, they're not populating out in the free world, and they're also not ending up as a statistic in my shelter, right? That isn't changing the dynamic in the landscape. So I have to really evaluate the data. As she said, when we get the data where our hotspots are.
Nicole, excuse me, Donna, can you guys whisper or go outside? Go ahead.
As soon as we get our data mapped, and she asked how we're going to do it, we have data, we have addresses, cross streets, and all that. So we're deep diving, we're doing the data mining, we're trying to come up with where our resources will best be spent. And I promise you, Donna will be my first email, other than our groups that we partner with. We have a strong partnership with TNR now. They were going out and doing and trapping and bringing to us as well. But when when our staff is in line and hearing so-and-so tell so-and-so that they're not even from the area, but they got so-and-so to bring the cat in, I can't do that. That's not even right to the constituents that we serve, right? So I will get with the other resident, and I'm sorry, I forgot your name already, but we will get together and make sure, Sarah, thank you. We will get together and make sure that we can connect. And I want the community to understand, if you are having a major issue, don't call and say it's 50 cats, because it's rarely 50. That seems to be the number right now. But if there's specific areas where we're struggling and it's really an animal control issue, we will send an officer out to do an evaluation. But I have to plead with the community. We have got to stop feeding, doing open feeding in the public. We're not only calling more cats, we're calling coyotes. So if you think you have a coyote issue, look no further than completely feeding community cats and leaving dishes open all day, every day. You have to have timed feeding, pick up the dishes, put them inside. Because to tell people to stop feeding, it's like telling people not to speed. It's not gonna happen, right? So we wanna be reasonable and have a rational approach to it. So in the absence of getting people to stop feeding, I ask that you time the feeding and remove the trays, remove the water, remove the source that's calling them. Because not only that, you're calling rodents. So it's a combination, it's just a vicious cycle. So we want to be a solution and a resource, and we ask the community to do their part as well.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I know there is a very, very serious problem. Last council meeting, Donna and another lady came and explained the number of cats, the sheer number that they've been catching and been asked to help with, and it's shocking. It's really shocking.
How many actual coyote calls have we had, if you've documented those, do you know?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I can let you know. Yeah, and so here's the thing too, right? That's dicey because Fish and Wildlife is not gonna roll out on a non-emergency call. You letting your Yorkie Terrier off of an 8-foot leash, walking down the street, and it gets nabbed by a coyote, that's not considered an urgent call. That's considered not a threatening situation. A coyote jumping over your fence 2 feet away from your toddler, that's a concerning situation, and we need to know about that. We will go out and do yard audits. So if you have somebody that is saying, hey, I keep having coyote activity and we're not sure why, I bet you there's fruit dropping that's not being picked up. There's fruit trees. There's denning happening. They're making dens in abandoned properties. or you have feeders in the area. Those are three major sources. They don't live in flood control channels. They use them as the superhighway. Other than that, they're living right in and amongst us.
We have a problem in our neighborhood, and what's happened, it's right where Wolfenbarger's is, and they actually have a contact through the county that gets hold of the guy that comes out and takes care of them.
Yes.
But yeah, right in daylight, they're right going up the street.
Yeah, the farmers in town, if they're worrying their cattle, their sheep, they have permission to shoot on site. Otherwise, you have to get the county trapper involved or call us, and then we'll come out there and evaluate it.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Well, Nicole, thank you for coming with your presentation this evening.
Thank you.
Okay, written request to speak. We have an invocation from Mr. Chris May. He's from Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, and he's going to lead us in invocation. I invite all of you who would like to join us to please stand.
Police, Sheriff, let's pray. Father, again, we thank you, Father, for your grace and your mercy. Father, I just thank you for those that you have called to serve your people. Father, in this community. Father, I thank you for this community. Father, I thank you for the city of Chino. And Father, just for your good hand of blessing upon us. Father, I pray, Father, for our mayor, for the city council, Father, that you would just give them your wisdom, your discernment. Father, that you would help them to make decisions that are right in your eyes. Father, I pray, Father, you would just continue to, Father, just bless this community. Father, bless those who serve in it. Father, keep our fire and our police safe. Father, bless we the people. Father, that you would just help this community to stay a community. Father, with arms linked together. And Father, that you would, Father, just shine upon us. These things we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chris. Next written request to speak is Melissa Campani from Supervisor Hagman's office.
Well, good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, and residents. My name is Melissa Campani, and I'm here representing Supervisor Kurt Hagman. And Supervisor Hagman asked me to make a couple of announcements tonight. And the first will be the document shredding event, which is always popular, particularly with residents here in the city of Chino. However, our next free event will be taking place in the city of Upland. It's a partnership with the city of Upland and, of course, the county. So we are inviting all Chino residents, however, to bring those shredding materials. We ask that you limit your materials to 3 standard size filing boxes. And the date will be Saturday, September the 30th from 9 a.m. to noon or until the truck reaches capacity. So please come early. You don't have to come too early or before 9, but certainly you don't want to pull up at 11:59 with all your shredding materials because there's a good chance that truck will be packing up. The location is at Memorial Park. The address is 1150 East Foothill Boulevard in the city of Upland. And you can always pre-register for the event at SBC Shredding 093023, which is the date, .eventbrite.com. It's not necessary to pre-register, but it is information we do ask people for so that they can just bypass that particular step. And so that'll be my last announcement about shredding, so get your materials ready. We do have another kind of exciting announcement, actually. Supervisor Hagman, I'm not sure if you're aware, is on the governing board of directors for the AQMD. And right now, the AQMD is looking for young leaders for their advisory council. And the focus of this and mission of the YLAC is to identify air quality issues and concerns of young adults aged 18 to 30 in the region. Through the YLAC, South Coast AQMD seeks to educate and engage young adults regarding the region's clean air issues and garner greater insight into youth's concerns, values, and priorities about air quality. So the AQMD, I don't know if I said, is the Air Quality Management District, which is, the acronyms are always kind of tricky. So, and it is something you can look up online. The selection criteria is ages 18 to 30, and the candidates must maintain a permanent residence in one of the following counties: Los Angeles, Orange, Riverside, or San Bernardino. And the meetings will be held quarterly on the third Wednesday of the month from 12:30 to 2:30. And you can apply online. And so it is hopeful that we get our applications in. We would love to have representation, of course, from our area for the AQMD. And that would be very nice. The address for the AQMD is 21865 Copley Drive, and that is in our neighboring city of Diamond Bar. So you can go to www.gov/NAV/about/groups-committees/YLAC. So hopefully we'll have a few young people who want to look into this and sign up, get their participation. Thank you so much.
Elborn from the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening. I wanted to give an update on our Upskill Chino Valley program. I think it was about a year ago that we had discussed that we had received funding and we were working towards starting those programs. So the last year has been crazy busy for our Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce. We've grown a ton, and the main thing that we're trying to accomplish is we've been to a lot of trainings, we've worked with a lot of businesses, and a lot of our local businesses had help wanted signs post-pandemic, and that's still a big issue for a lot of our businesses. It's one of the things we're working on trying to solve, not just in the short term, but in the long term. So we put together this Upskill Chino Valley program a year ago with the support of some of our local agencies. So Supervisor Kurt Hagman is one of those, and essentially because of their support, we were able to implement and execute this program. And so I am very proud to say it was a very ambitious goal. It's something we wanted to accomplish, and we did everything we set out to do and then some. And so I wanted to highlight some of the stuff that the Chamber's done over the last year since we started executing on this, which was October of 2022. So from a workforce development standpoint, so there's 4 different components to this. The first is workforce. So from the workforce side, we've placed over 100 people in full-time jobs in this community with local businesses.
Good.
And so the goal is us trying to help make sure that people don't have to travel outside of the area, they can stay here and work here. We've created a job board on our website, so if you're looking for local jobs and local opportunities that are high paying, that's another good spot to look, is on our website. We've helped over 135 businesses support their workforce needs. We've referred more than 800 businesses to resources. I think one of the questions we get is, what does the Chamber of Commerce do? We identify resources and we help make sure that our businesses have access to those resources. So San Bernardino County has programs where they'll pay you to onboard new staff and new employees. So it's a chance to offset costs when you're hiring new employees. There's training programs, there's free HR services. And so through that, we've helped our local businesses receive more than $100,000 worth of funds just this last year alone in on-the-job training and funds by letting them know of resources that they wouldn't have known of otherwise. We've done over 6 job fairs, reaching the thousands of job seekers, including hundreds of local businesses. We have one on Thursday here at the Chaffey College Chino Community Center. We have more than 30 businesses registered for that. So if you're looking for a job, I encourage you to go check that out. And then we've done a lot of workforce development related work. And so these success stories of things, and that's Renee. So one, that's the work that Renee was doing that you guys just recognized as Woman of the Year. So she's overseeing that whole program. And so thank you for recognizing Renee. She's done phenomenal work and totally deserves all the accolades. And she's helped our businesses get lots of funding. The next thing we've done is we've done these roundtables where we're bringing in businesses from specific industry sectors to identify what are the challenges those businesses are facing and how can the chamber or how can our community help solve those, or how can we get those businesses working together. So we've done about 20 of those this year. And the outcomes of those is we have very clear action items for things that we can do to better help support our business community so that all of our businesses can thrive as a result. So we've helped facilitate that this year. These are all new programs that were not in existence before, thanks to the support of some of our elected officials. We started a kids entrepreneurship fair. We helped place 45 kids in internships through Chino Valley Unified School District. We helped out more than 5,200 kids get access to local businesses and business owners via career days, via going into the classroom, via internships, and things of that sort. We did more than 21 events. We just got a contract with Chaffey College to do the exact same thing at Chaffey College by getting internships with local businesses here that need that work. We've done a kids entrepreneurship fair. We've done an entrepreneurship pitch competition for high school kids. And we've created a Chino Valley leadership program for youth as well. So helping kids connect with leaders in our community. And then we've also set up a leadership program. We had 25 participants participate this in our first year. Christopher Flores was one of our participants. We went through and did a year-long program where we toured different sites around the community to develop leaders in the Chino Valley area. And then we also did the same thing for our youth as well. So we had a youth leadership program as well. So those are just some of the things. We've done more, but I didn't want to take up too much time today. I wanted to showcase, we did have an impact report. So it is on our website, in the news section of our website. We also have this. It was sent out via email to all of our members to show the work and the impact that we've done over this last year. And we're super proud of the work that we did. And on top of that, Renee's been recognized as Woman of the Year. Our chamber was recognized as the Executive of the Year for the whole western half of the United States. And we've had tons of other accolades and support from our community, from the state, from the county, from the federal government or federal business community. And so I just wanted to share those things, that we're doing lots of really good stuff here in the Chino Valley, and I wanted to make sure you all got one of these. That's it.
Well, Zeb, you have done an absolutely phenomenal job with the chamber. It has grown tremendously since you took over, and I want to applaud you for all of your success, because you have really, really put the Chino Valley Chamber on the map.
Thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That means a lot. Can I take these up to you?
Yes, thank you. Okay, those are our written requests to speak. Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to address the council on any item that is not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, I did take things out of order this evening, so we did have a closed session item before the council meeting. I'd like to ask our attorney to give us a report out of that meeting.
And previously announced before recessing into closed session. The council discussed the following items. Item number 1, as listed on the closed session portion of the agenda, is conference with legal counsel. 1 item of anticipated litigation under the heading initiation of litigation. Following a discussion by motion of Mayor Pro Tem Comstock and seconded by Councilmember Lucio, carried 4-0. The City Council authorized the City Attorney's Office to initiate legal action by joining with the City of Ontario's complaint against the Inland Empire Utilities Agency, IEUA, to enforce IEUA's obligation to negotiate an extension or new regional sewerage service agreement in good faith and terminate the tolling agreement between the parties as necessary. The City Council met on item number 2, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, the matter of Harvey Allen II versus Chino Police Department and additional parties. City Council received an update and no further reportable action. Direction provided and no further reportable action. Item number 3, conference with legal counsel. 1 item of anticipated litigation under the heading significant exposure to litigation. City Council received an update to that anticipated litigation item and no further reportable action was taken. Finally, the council discussed the conference with labor negotiator concerning the employee organizations previously announced and listed on the agenda. City Council evaluated that the labor negotiations provided unanimous direction. No further reportable action was taken. That concludes the report, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fred. City Manager Reich, do we have any additions or revisions to the agenda?
No changes, Mayor.
Okay. Next, under information, we do have a legislative update, which is within our packet. I encourage all of you to access it through our website. Under public announcements, mark your calendars for the compost and mulch giveaway happening on Saturday, September 30th. Come on down to the Public Works Service Yard located at 5050 Schaefer Avenue between 8 a.m. and noon. This is a first-come, first-served event for Chino residents. Be sure to bring your ID and a utility bill to confirm residency. Also bring a shovel and strong containers for loading and carrying your compost and mulch. Our neighbors from outside of Chino are welcome during the last hour if there are still materials available. For more information, please contact our Green Chino team at 909-334-3472. Next, the city's free residential community cleanup is taking place on October 14th. In collaboration with Waste Management, this event will run from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at 13793 Redwood Street. It's a perfect chance to dispose of various unwanted items like old tires, electronics, and even bricks. Remember, hazardous waste will not be accepted, and you'll need to show proof of Chino residency, like a California ID and a utility bill. If you have questions, don't hesitate to call 800-423-9986. Halloween Spooktacular. Lastly, a fun one for our residents who are young and young at heart. The Halloween Spooktacular takes place on Tuesday, October 31st. We'll be gathering at Ruben S. Ayala Park, specifically fields 11, 12, and 13, from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Expect carnival rides, delightful food stalls, and eerie entertainment for everyone. We'll also be offering pre-sale carnival wristbands for just $10, available in early October. Keep an eye out on our website, www.cityofchino.org/Halloween, or follow us on social media for updates. Next on our agenda is our consent calendar. Do any items and members of the council wish to have any items pulled? Okay, any members of the public wish to have any items pulled? Okay, seeing none, then I would encourage a motion and a second to adopt the consent calendar. We have a motion from Councilman Burton. I need a second.
Yeah, it doesn't pop up.
This is weird.
I tried to.
This, okay, there now. Somebody give me a second. Okay, it's not working correctly. The second was provided by Councilman Lucio. Please vote. It's not letting us. Okay, we have 3. Mine didn't.
Your option is to
take.
simply do a voice vote.
Yeah, we're going to have to. It's not working right, Natalie. It didn't take mine. Ah, there, I goofed. Okay, item passes 4 yes with 1 absent. Sorry about that. We have a new system and I goofed. Next on the agenda is new business, item number 12, Chino on Ice Winter Wonderland Experience. This item is a request to approve a contract with Seaside Ice LLC, doing business as Ice America, for the construction, operation, and maintenance of a portable outdoor ice skating rink and associated equipment. Staff report this evening will be provided by our Director of Community Services, Parks, and Recreation, Sylvia Avalos, and our Assistant City Manager, Jackie Melendez.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Tonight, for your careful consideration, we present a proposal for the creation of the Chino on Ice Winter Wonderland Experience. Before we begin, we would like to show you a short video.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. The video that you just saw was a video of the Temecula on Ice experience. It provides some highlights of some of the options and experience that is up for review for your consideration this evening. The Chino on Ice Winter Wonderland Experience is a new fee-based program offered to enhance the winter season here in town. The program will feature a real ice skating rink that is 66 by 36 feet or 2,376 square feet and can accommodate up to 80 skaters. In addition to the rink, the experience will feature a vendor's row, holiday music, festive theming, lighting, decor, and a viewing area for family and friends to watch their favorite ice skaters while chatting and enjoying a cup of hot cocoa. The experience will kick off on December 2nd to coincide with the popular tree lighting ceremony and Santa's visit to Chino, and will be located on the former county parking lot just south of the front lawn at City Hall. It will also run for 5 weeks ending on January 6th. The rink itself will allow for the rentals of skates and skating time on the ice for $20 for a 1-hour session, and the rental of the optional balancing aids called bobbies for $10 that you saw in the video there. The experience is a fee-based program where the costs of rentals, whereby the costs of the program will be offset by rentals, sponsorships, and other fees to offset the overall cost of the program. So it's different from other types of events that we have here in Chino. This comes in with a cost revenue mechanism built into the program. Approval of the contract this evening is before you with Seaside Ice LLC. They're doing business as Ice America in the amount of $446,801. This will allow for the construction, operation, staffing, and maintenance of the real ice skating rink, including all of the associated equipment for the ambiance, such as festive decor, theming, holiday music, and elaborate lighting. As outlined in the staff report, staff contacted 4 companies who provide these types of products and services to other municipal users. Ice America was the only company available to meet all of the city's requirements, which included a real ice, not synthetic ice, a 5-week duration, and a specific rink size. Staff also reached out to 2 local cities to inquire about the performance of Ice America and received only positive comments. Those cities included Temecula, which we've seen this evening on the video, and the city of Santa Ana. Staff moved forward with the vendor as a sole source, which is in alignment with the city's purchasing policy. Now, as a fee-based program, the Winter Wonderland Experience is expected to recoup a majority of the costs to operate the program, but not all of the costs in the first year. Staff has provided a cost recovery breakdown in the staff report, which includes 5 revenue-generating sources. Those sources include skate sessions, bobby rentals, private group sessions, whereby organizations and community groups can have the ice all to themselves, vendors row, and sponsorships. The program will be offered as a joint venture between the Community Services, Parks and Recreation Department and the Administration Department. Community Services, Parks and Recreation, they'll be responsible for the operation of the event, ensuring that all is needed for a fun and safe operation. They will conduct outreach to local sports and community groups to ensure that they'll be able to maximize their enjoyment of the program. Administration will be responsible for the marketing of the event, both within the city and online to adjacent communities. Since this is the only such experience in the area, we expect to attract not only a local, but a regional draw. Admin will also be responsible for securing all large corporate sponsorships in excess of $10,000. To date, the city has reached out to and has secured interest from several companies and organizations here in town, and we're confident we will not only meet our $50,000 sponsorship goal, but will actually exceed it if approved this evening. Lastly, the location of the experience will impact our community programs. If approved this evening, staff will work with these groups to ensure alternative locations and make any necessary preparations. This concludes my report, and we're here to answer any questions you may have regarding the program.
Okay, questions or comments from council members? Mark, do you have any questions or comments?
No.
Karen?
I like this program a lot. I think a lot of what we do in community services has an opportunity to expose our local residents to different experiences that they generally wouldn't have if we didn't provide it at the local level. Being a former police explorer advisor and taking kids all over Southern, up and down the state and out of California, I saw that firsthand. I had taken kids to maybe a beach for the first time or something that they did. One of my concerns is just the cost and the sponsorships and the revenue generator. Can you do a little bit better job of breaking down what we think where we'll fall short just for the public, and where we project based off of Temecula's operations, just what we think that figure is going to be? And I do realize it's a budgeted item, and let me just also say, I think it's going to be phenomenal. When you look at that video and what it presents here to our local community, I think this is going to be hugely popular in our community. And I also like the idea of being able to sponsor kids who otherwise couldn't afford to go to a skating rink to do it right here nearby home. So can you help me out with that, Jackie?
Absolutely. So in the report, there's a lot of numbers in the report. And so to break down some of those numbers, we have a contract amount, which I mentioned, $446,000, and then also there's a staffing component. So that'll bring us to about $477,000. Our intention is to offset the revenue, like I said, with those five revenue sources. Our skating sessions, there's a maximum of 231 skating sessions available. You can have 80 folks on the ice at any given time, and that goes for about $20 an hour. So there's a calculation that staff looked at to decide where will we be in that space and how many will we likely be able to sell to the public and community groups and things like that. So there's a calculation that's built into the staff report for that. The bobby rentals, we don't expect everybody to have a bobby. I mean, I would require one, but most of the folks on the ice aren't going to require a bobby. So we anticipate about 25 per session, and those come at a cost of about $10. So those two items, we expect that to be in about the $57,000 range. Private group sessions, we were pretty conservative in this space, and what we looked at is to have the ice for 1 hour for, say, a larger corporation here in town, maybe to come out and do a holiday event or some sort of team bonding. They could get the entire ice for a whole hour for themselves at $1,600 an hour. And we anticipate getting about 4 of those. Again, that's very conservative. Staff is already working on who we would outreach to those. We think that more will come in. But again, this is the first year we're offering the program, and we want to make sure that we are successful in the things we want to deliver on. The other things is there will be a vendor row. We're looking at about 14 vendors at about $100 each. There's a lot of complicated breakdowns with the vendors, but that's essentially what it would come down to. So we're thinking very conservatively about $1,400 there. Again, that's another space where there could be some growth. Sponsorship at the high level for $10,000 or more with our corporate sponsors. That's a growth area for our city. It's not something we've done a lot of, but we have done preliminary calling and talked to several businesses that are very interested in coming in at the $10,000 range or even higher. So here, because this is, again, a lot of newness in this program, we're looking at $50,000, but our intention is to go higher.
Okay, so the amount based off the report is somewhere in the $30,000 to $35,000 range that we think we may fall short
for the sponsorships.
Total when we offset it with all the revenue sources.
So with the revenue sources as stated in the report, we have a total of $424,910 that we're anticipating. So again, because this is a fee-based program, we do not intend to do 100% cost recovery. We expect that there will be a little bit of a gap, but that $400,000 price tag that comes at the beginning, that is not what the ultimate cost of the program will be. We anticipate, again, with the first year, that it'll be a very popular program, and if approved, and in the future, we can see it growing and adding more time, more weeks, that sort of thing, if it gets to the level that we think that it will be. But the numbers that are provided in front of you are kind of on the low side, because we want to make sure that we're able to deliver for the community.
Go ahead, Linda.
Just add, yes, Mayor Pro Tem, it's about 35,000.
Right.
That would be our
Based
cost.
off the report? Okay, got you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think, I think I'd like, I think the community's going to love it. I think it's going to be hard to get ICE time on there. I think different corporations are going to want to come and participate, especially some of our sponsors. And I think that I would also like to, if this council decides to adopt it, just evaluate it for the first year and see how we do. And if it's as successful as we think it is and we can narrow that gap, I think that's a really good thing for our community. So those are all my comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Natalie, all of our screens went dark. Curtis, you have any comments?
I do. I want you to know that I think this is an incredible program. I love it. I love everything about it. I think that our city would eat this up. I think this is something that's long overdue for us. I think it's a great program. But $500,000 is a lot of money to bring this into the city. Now, I know it's not $500,000, it's $477,000. But when you do the math, it's about over $92,000 a week, almost $14,000 per day that we're going to have to generate the revenue for. You talked about sponsorships and vendors. And Jackie, I know you, and I know you're going to go out, and I know our community services are going to go out and give it your best effort to try to raise all the money to cover all the costs. My thought is the known versus the unknown. And when I think about sponsorships, how many have we actually received now? The vendor row, how many have we received now? We're in September, we're at the end of September. You want to start this in November or December? December. So I know that gives us a couple months. But I just think this is a lot of money. And I think there's a lot of unknowns for me right now on this. Again, I love the program a lot. I just think it's a lot of money, and we don't know exactly how this is going to go. And I know the first year you just don't know that. And timing is everything. It really is. And I understand how that goes as well. And as much as I love this, I just think that there's a timing issue here too as well with us. But I want you to know I love the program.
I will, if I can say that we agree as well. We know from talking to colleagues in other cities the popularity of the program and understanding what kind of revenue they're bringing in. We also right now, to your point about timing, we kind of have timing on our side right now because nobody else is providing this service. If somebody wants to Mayor Pro Tem's point, have that first experience of being on real ice and ice skating, they would have to go to LA Live in Los Angeles. they could go to Temecula or Santa Ana. So this year, this would be an opportunity to really get a regional jump start. And like I said in the report, this would not just be a local draw. Our intention by getting administration and our public engagement staff involved would really be to cast a wide net to capture some of the folks in other cities to come into our cities, into our city, enjoy the program, potentially eat in our restaurants, and spread a little bit of the seasonal love here, perhaps shop here as well.
Well, I've expressed my concerns to both city manager and you, Jackie. I agree with Curtis. I love the concept, and as a young person, 100 years ago, I actually skated at the Ontario skating rink, which is still there, and it is a fun experience. In Girl Scouts, we actually had a badge that you could work on and do ice skating, so it was really fun. But my concerns are a little bit different. You know, in looking at our budget, our projected expenditures, when we look at all of our needs in our community for street improvements, infrastructure, which is water and sewer and all of that, because of our expenditures that we're projecting we're going to do in the next 5 years, we're going to bring our reserves from $70-some million down to zero, because we want to improve our community with real improvements, you know, permanent improvements that it deals with our quality of life and what our citizens expect. They want good streets. They want to be able to, you know, traverse through our community without hitting potholes and streets are a mess. They want clean water. They want an assurance of clean water and that the sewer flows and all of that. And we, over and above spending all of our reserves to get us where we eventually want to be, which isn't even really going to get us all the way there, we also are projecting millions and millions of dollars in shortages on the improvements that we need for our community that benefit everybody. I think this program would be absolutely phenomenal, but it is just really hard for me to support something that's almost $500,000 that is iffy, you know, on the revenue. And I know you've done your research, I understand that, but in looking at the numbers, the projected estimated income, possible income from 1 hour skating sessions is $314,000. That's, if you divide that by $20, that's 15,708 people that are going to have to skate during that 5-week period in order to get that much income in. And you say there's going to be 68, it'll come out to 68 people per hour, and I don't know how many hours per day. It's just, I think it may work. It really may work. It's just, I have for years and years and years and years and years been very fiscally conservative and tried really hard to maintain our reserves and yet provide a really good community. And if we don't do this, it's not like we're taking away something that the community is already enjoying. It's a brand new experience, and I think it would be phenomenal. And it may be in the budget, although I don't remember us specifically talking about the details of it in the budget. It was, you know, our budget's kind of a wish list on everything that we would like to see. But I would feel much better to be able to support this if you had really hard sponsorships coming in, definite commitments from the community, from our big businesses, you know, who want the sessions, and really had done some promotional, had the opportunity to do some promotional advertisement to see just how the community would accept it. I feel terrible about this, but my conservative, fiscally conservative part of me just can't support it. I'm really sorry. I wish staff had had the time or started, you know, a lot earlier and come in with some really hard, fast numbers. I also wish we all received an email from one of the companies that you had spoken to about wishing that there had been a formal RFP process, even though you mentioned it isn't required. I think it would have been good to go through that RFP to see the details and do the comparison in companies. So, you know, I feel really bad about this because I think the community really would enjoy it, but the fiscal conservative part of me just cannot support it at this time because I don't think we have the firm numbers of income to support it. Mark?
You know, I think when we sat here and we talked about the direction that we want to take the city, and we talked about different things like, for example, the shopping, or I shouldn't say shopping, the commercial area that they're going to develop across the street from Shavey College, how they want to turn that into an Anaheim packing district type concept to make it a draw to come to Chino. I think this is one step going into that direction, bringing something into the city that nobody else has that makes people want to come here. A good example is obviously when we have our 4th of July event. People come here from not just Chino Hills, but from all over to come here to enjoy that. There is nothing like this anywhere around us. And it's not just, you're right, it's not just the mere impact of just the skating ring, but it's the mere impact of everybody coming here. And I'm sure you guys are going to do like a big social media push to everyone around and do a big draw that way, and then, you know, obviously advertise. Obviously, not a lot of people read the paper as much as they used to, but they are on social media, and as long as you can attract those folks to know that there's a skating rink here available, I think we have a great opportunity to bring people here, not just for the skating rink, but also to come to our restaurants and start bringing that appeal of the downtown area to start building that up again. Not just a place where people come here to, you know, because, you know, we have great groups here that give to the needy. You know, we obviously have that big event that Isaiah's Rock puts on, you know, during that time frame where thousands of people come here and we give stuff away. But we also need to have something here other than that, something that brings the community here, but not just our community, but our neighboring cities, and sees the type of, I mean, we're a great community. And then the problem is we just don't advertise it as well. I mean, I think we're probably the best city around, but nobody knows because we just don't put ourselves out there. I think, you know, with the new staff that we have and the talent that we have now and their ability to advertise, I think it'll be very successful. So it's a matter of, you know, are we willing to risk, you know, 30, 35,000, 40,000 to bring an experience here with the hope that it continues to grow every year? I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it for our restaurants to be able to get additional patronage. You know, I look at it as a little different. I mean, I look at where we want to go and where we want to be, and I think this is something that'll get us there because we're starting to put ourselves back out there and not be so conservative. And being conservative is important. You know, don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't want this to flop. You know, but I do have the confidence that you guys, especially the people we brought in from other cities, other agencies that have worked in this type of, you know, to try to create something that wasn't there before. I think we have the right people in place. So I'm going to support it only because I have the faith that you guys are going to be able to make this successful. Is it scary? Yeah, it's scary. But I think you guys are going to pull it off. So in that sense, I've asked you guys to do something. You guys are trying to bring that here. So I have to support you in that. So, you know, I guess if we're ready to vote, we'll vote. But that's just my feeling. I mean, I understand what the mayor's saying, that this is sticker shock is very, very high, but we've asked you guys to do something here, and I think I need to support you in that. That's all I got.
I appreciate your comments, Mark. And if it was only $35,000 or $40,000, I would support it in a heartbeat. But a $477,000 ticket with a hope of bringing in $430,000 to me, the old style conservative part of me just can't do it, you know. And I appreciate everything that you're saying, because we do have a huge, beautiful community that is a hidden gem. And I've always said that we're the best kept secret in Southern California. And I honestly do wish I could support this, but there's just part of me, Jackie, that just, I need better numbers. I need commitments. I need firm commitments. I need to know that our community is behind this. And, you know, and Mark, you might be right. They may come out in droves and be thrilled, but then I look in the back of my mind and I also think, you know, we bought the house next to Monte Vista Park and tore down the house so that we could have expanded parking, but we don't even have the money to pave the parking lot. You know, I don't know if that would be $500,000 or not. I don't know what that would cost, but there's needs in our community. And while, well, I've beat this like a dead horse, but I wish I could support it at this time, but I just can't. But I think, you know, maybe next year, if there were better numbers that came back, if we had an RFP out there and we had actual firm commitments from companies that, you know, would actually sign on the dotted line, I would feel a lot more comfortable with it. So with that, we do have a request from staff to support this. Oh, first, before I do that, do we have any comments from the audience? Anyone in the audience would like to address the council on this? Okay, seeing none. We do have a request for staff to support this item. So is there a motion and a second? There's a motion from Councilman Lucio and second from Mayor Pro Tem Comstock. Please vote. It hasn't come up. There it is. Well, we have 2 yes and 2 no. We're tied because we're short one councilman. So what do we do?
The item does not pass.
It doesn't pass, okay. Okay, we will move on to item number 13, update on parking enforcement for street sweeping purposes. This is to provide an update on parking enforcement and receive city council input and direction. Our staff report will be provided by our city traffic engineer, Mr. Dennis Rawls. Dennis?
Just a moment. Good evening, Mayor and City Council and the public. Tonight before you is an update on our street sweeping parking enforcement program that we've been working diligently on to get to the residents of Chino. I thought it'd be important for, mostly for the public's sake, and just a reminder that street sweeping is an important service the city provides, because not only does it keep our streets swept and clean, but it also helps us comply with our MS4 permit, in which we actually report the tonnage of trash collected by our street sweepers to the state agency. And also wanted to kind of just capture sort of where we've been over the past year or so in terms of talking about this. So several workshops where we've discussed the idea and tried to work out some of the complications of providing this service citywide, including a couple of council meetings where we had to do code amendments. Most recently, last June, where we had to change dates and times. And then lastly, we brought this before the Infrastructure Committee before coming here tonight to sort of give and make sure we checked in with our Infrastructure Committee on where we were going and making sure we're heading in the right direction. So with that, tonight's presentation tonight really gives an update on where we're at and where we're going. So as you may remember, we decided that probably the best way to enforce parking restrictions for street sweeping purposes was really to divide the street into 2 sides. And so I'll be going into some details about that. We have implemented our first citywide neighborhood outside of College Park and the preserve, so I'll discuss that a little bit. And the implementation and discuss some takeaways we've learned in that process, and then talk about some next steps and get some direction from the City Council to make sure we're continuing to head in the right direction. So this is the current design that we're expecting to put out citywide for street sweeping purposes. It allows us to enforce street sweeping in a very clear and concise manner. It allows for parking to happen on one side of the street while we sweep the other side, and then the second sweeping of that month for that to flip, allowing at least once a month for us to get both sides of the street. This was a concern because in a lot of places throughout the city, on-street parking is a premium. And so we wanted to come up with a way to clearly signify to the residents how we expect to enforce, and it also was able to put that information on a sign that we could put out in the public. So this is the design that we're coming up with. What we're planning on doing is parking enforcement would be enforced on even sides of the street the first day of the month, and on the odd side of the street the second sweeping of the month. Now, this doesn't change the sweeping that occurs. It doesn't change the schedule or when that sweeping will occur, simply when parking enforcement will occur on those streets. So I want to make that clear. The area we've implemented this so far is highlighted in the red square on the right, rectangle. It's bounded by Chino Avenue, Edison Avenue, Cypress Avenue, and Magnolia Avenue around the Howard Cattle Elementary School area. So this neighborhood has been signed, and the warning period has begun. Those signs went up in early July. Staff did public outreach, including handing out individual notices to all the residents in the area, as well as social media posts. And we've decided to flag the entrance signs that were posted to bring more attention to them so that the residents of these areas knew that something was going to happen. PD has reported that in their monthly warnings that they do with the sweeper, that the warning numbers have gone down each sequential time that they've been out there. The first time was, for instance, the first time they were out there, 60 warnings were given, the second time 30. And it's been continuing to trend downward. So we chose for this neighborhood to do two different types of signs. There's a larger 18-inch by 24-inch sign that's put at the entrance to all neighborhoods. These signs are required per the vehicle code when we sign areas for street sweeping purposes, but we decided to supplement that with more signage internally on each individual street segment. It's a smaller sign, the text is harder to read, but it allows residents of every street to get a chance to walk out and see the sign. So we did that as part of this go-around. And the takeaways we've come across in implementing this neighborhood is that notification is key. Certainly communication with the public is our key to success in making sure this program is successful. We did find out that we got some comments from the public. We installed new signs in the front of some neighbors that were not very happy about that. So we did look at our sign placement. We relocated those signs. And what we plan to do in the future, in coordination with PD to make sure that the signs remain enforceable, is that the signs will be placed on either existing posts or streetlights on each street segment. Now, the entrance to the neighborhoods, that's still got to stay somewhere near there, so we'll do our best to minimize our impact. But certainly that was heard loud and clear, and we'll do our best to make sure that we're minimizing those impacts. And then we got some concerns about some of the smaller signs specifically. They were a little hard to read, so we'll look at increasing those sign sizes. And lastly, once we did make sure the public understood what we meant by odd and even enforcement, we really felt that the community embraced that and seems to really get that now that it's been several weeks of attempts to that. Of note, enforcement has not begun in this neighborhood yet. We wanted to make sure we came to City Council first to make sure there was no other direction or concerns from Council or the public before we began enforcement. So PD begins to plan enforcement this Friday. This will be the first time this neighborhood will be cited if they're still violating the signs. Lastly, our next steps are last council meeting. I understand there was a resident that spoke up concerned about the preserve and the enforcement of parking enforcement for street sweeping down there. That concern's been echoed by the police department. They get those complaints quite regularly. I understand that they're routinely citing 100 sites each time that they're down there. And so what staff is recommending to do is to implement this odd-even enforcement citywide, including the preserve and College Park. So with the council's concurrence tonight, Our planned next step is to go out to the Preserve and College Park and re-sign those neighborhoods for odd and even enforcement. Currently, College Park is not enforced yet, and the chief can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think it is. So right now, just the Preserve is. So as we implement these changes to those areas, we can then continue on our enforcement and implementing this phased approach neighborhood by neighborhood citywide. With that, that concludes my report. I have Ben Orozco, Public Works Services Manager, with me, as well as my backup, the man in blue in the front row there to help me out with any enforcement questions. Thank you very much.
It's pretty good reinforcement. See, Mark, you actually represent the College Park and Preserve area. This probably is what the residents have been looking for.
Yes, we sat on the Infrastructure Streets Committee meeting, and this is definitely the easiest way because originally they had anticipated making it no parking in the whole neighborhood, and that was not going to be, there was no way we were going to be able to do that, especially like they said, parking is a premium and people can't do that. So making it odds and evens gives them the opportunity to park on the opposite side. And the good thing is both sides of the street will still be swept on those days, but you know, if they're doing the odds one particular day, the sweeper will still go through there, but just won't cite anybody for being, you know, if they're in violation that particular day. But if they're in the violation, they'll cite them. But if there is no car in that area, they'll still sweep it. So you know, it could very well get cleaned twice a month, as opposed to just once a month. But if there is cars legally parked where they can park, they won't be able to sweep that side. But at least the streets will get swept at least once a month. So I think it's the easiest. We thought about what they do similar in LA, where they actually put signs on each street, and that would be very, very expensive. And some people thought people wouldn't understand that, but I think this is the easiest solution. I think it'll work. I think it meets all the needs that people want. The people that obviously say cars remain there and there's backed up trash. So I think we'll end up solving that problem. I think we're giving people the opportunity to park on the opposite side, so that isn't going to be a problem. So I think you guys did a great job in coming up with this. I think this is something that's going to work, especially in College Park and in the Preserve. So I really have no other questions, and thanks for coming up with a good solution. And now it's just about educating the communities and getting this implemented. So thank you.
And I think, Curtis, you have the area that's currently being signed like that. Have you heard any impact?
I do, and it's really positive. I think it's been a real success in my neighborhood, but we live in an area that has many cul-de-sacs. The signs have been placed at the entrances of all the streets, so people are aware that that's going to be going on. They are a little hard to read, like you'd mentioned. But I think that if we went any larger than that, they'd be really obtrusive, and I wouldn't like that either. But I think with our staff going out the way you did and making the notifications and giving people now the warnings with the police department, I think it's great. I have heard nothing negative. I've received a few positive remarks from some of my neighbors. So I think it's going to be a real success in my neighborhood. It in my opinion, it already has been. So thank you very much.
Karen, do you have any input from your neighborhood?
I do, Mayor. I think the staff's done a good job of coming up with a resolution to some of the initial concerns, but I have heard from residents in my local neighborhood as well that have been asking for this. I think it's long overdue for the city from several perspectives that our staff just pointed out here tonight, as far as reducing waste and litter into our storm drains, but also in just making sure that people are properly maintaining the fronts of their house with cars, moving them, that we don't have abandoned vehicles out there and different things that come along, particularly post-pandemic that happened to us during a period of time. And there's just areas of the city where cars were just parked so heavily that we never saw the benefit of street sweeping to either side of those streets for a very long period of time. Will it be inconvenient for some of our residents to have to move those cars? You bet. It's going to be a challenge. There's going to be a learning curve assigned to it. But I think the longer term benefits certainly outweigh some of the frustration, Mr. Mayor.
And Dennis, do you intend to do the entire city in this manner, or the neighborhoods that have a lot more street parking available, or are you not going to do it in those areas?
So right now, the intention is to phase this in citywide, throughout the entire city. There are some areas, especially like in downtown, where even limiting parking to half the street will still be a challenge. So we may have to be a little more creative than we've been so far in those areas. And so when we get to that point, we'll report back.
Okay. One thing I think that's going to come from this that's excellent is the fact that the abandoned cars will finally get moved. I know sometimes I use the drive up on the post office and going down, what street is that, 9th Street? There's weeds growing underneath some cars. It's been so long since they've been moved. So I think this is going to really benefit our community. Thank you for your creativeness. But I agree with some of the comments too. We don't want sign graffiti everywhere either. So thank you very much. Any other comments from council? How about from the audience? Any comments from the audience on this item? Okay, seeing none. This was just to receive an update, so I don't think we need any action, correct? Okay. Next on the agenda is mayor and council reports. Let's see, since the last council meeting on Wednesday, September 6th, I attended the Omnitrans and San Bernardino County Transportation Authority Board of Directors meetings. That afternoon, I attended the Inland Empire Utilities Agency. We had a meeting with one of their board members, Mr. Steve Eli, and their general manager, Shivaji Desmuth, city manager, and I did, regarding some issues with the outstanding contract. On Thursday, September 7th, I attended the special CDA Board of Directors meeting and the Inland Empire Utilities Agency Sewerage Policy Committee. Tuesday, September 12th, I met with Andrew Hill and some city staff regarding our general plan. And then that evening, we had a workshop. Wednesday, September 13th, I attended the mayor's prayer breakfast, and then that afternoon, the legislative committee with Mayor Pro Tem Comstock. Thursday, the 14th, Omnitrans Admin and Finance Committee and the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority Transit Committee and Metro Valley Committee. Saturday, the 16th, I attended the Chino Cares Emergency Preparedness Fair, which turned out really, really well for our first fair. I think it was very well attended. I loved the demonstration from the fire department on CPR. And I think those in attendance really got some valuable information. And I bought 2 of the emergency packs, one for the motorhome and one for home. So when I came home and told my husband, he almost fainted because they're not cheap. But I told him, if anything happens, we're going to have all the appropriate equipment. He said, well, what if anything doesn't happen? I said, well, that's a good thing, right? But at least we're prepared. Then today, we were able to have a special tour of the brand new Stater Brothers Market that's opening up tomorrow officially in the Preserve. And what an absolutely phenomenal store. I know where we're going to do our shopping from now on. We're going to go down and go to the American Car Wash, and then we'll go shopping. So that's all I have this evening. Mayor Pro Tem Comstock.
Thank you, Mayor. On September 6th, I attended the Measure G Chino School Bond Oversight Committee meeting, and that meeting was an informative meeting, as it always is, but it also consisted of several new members, so there was some information about committee rules and regulations, including just do's and don'ts, including the Brown Act for some of those new members. So it was a nice meeting that evening. On September 8th, I met and spoke with the Chino Valley Real Estate Professionals Group. They're a group of realtors in our community who are not just professional business people, but that group of people does a lot of work for our community and giving back to our community. I always enjoy speaking to that group of people. And I just talked about some of the general things that we have going on with the city mayor, like our general plan update, some transportation issues. So it's always nice to meet with that group of people. I enjoy it. On September 12th, I participated in the city council workshop regarding accessibility and getting an update on our accessibility plan and the transition plan. And then on September 13th, I attended the Infrastructure and Legislative Policy Committee. I sat on the Infrastructure Committee with Councilmember Lucio and the Legislative Policy Committee with the mayor. Later that same evening, I attended the Chino Valley Fire Board meeting with the chief and his staff. On September 14th, I met with Aaron O'Leary from Lewis Land Operations to discuss some issues of development and mutual interest involving transportation and different things. On Friday night, September 15th, I assisted Councilmember Burton with emceeing the annual milk can football game against Don Lugo High School and Chino High School. As most people know, our Neil Jerry is actually out on vacation, so Kurt got asked to be the MC, and I did my best to be a spotter for the game. I think I'm going to keep my day job on that one, Kurt. I was a little out of my league, but I did enjoy the night. I enjoyed going home. It's almost like, the equivalent of homecoming for me. Saw a lot of staff, alumni, and it was a good game, but Chino High came out on top, as most people know, and but I still support my alma mater there at Don Lugo. On September 18th, I had my one-on-one with the city manager, and I also received an update on the progress of our general plan. And of course, tonight is our closed session, Mayor, and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, very much. This is going to be a bit brief for me. A lot of you are probably thinking this is great. However, I really want to take a moment and let the audience know that I recently went through some surgery on my leg. They found an unusual bump on my leg that just didn't look right. And me being me, because I'm very fair-skinned and I've had a bout with melanoma in the past, I immediately went down to the dermatologist and they looked at it, they lopped it off and sent it in, and this came back as being melanoma as well. So I went through about an hour and a half worth of surgery on my leg, and I'm saying all this to say, ladies and gentlemen, go to your dermatologist, have your body checked. If you have a weird freckle or a mole or just an unusual bump, have it checked out. Some of us are more fair than others, but when we go out into the sun, we really need to be aware and cover up with some sunscreen. And I can go on a little bit more on this, but I'm not. But it's more of a public service announcement. I went through it, and these fine folks up here have had to watch me limp around now for the last couple weeks. It's not fun. Fortunately, it appears that they got it, so we're going to be in good shape. But anyway, please go to your doctor, your dermatologist, have yourself checked out. Anyway, September 11th, I attended a housing committee meeting with Councilmember Flores, and then I had my one-on-one with the city manager. September 12th, I attended the council workshop on accessibility. September 14th, I had a meeting with staff regarding the general plan. And then on the 15th, as Mayor Pro Tem had mentioned, I had the great pleasure and honor to sit with her up in the press box at Don Lugo High School and their stadium. What a tremendous field that Don Lugo has. It's just awesome. I mean, there's a lot of folks that will say that was long overdue, that field, and it is true. But I'll tell you what, it's a really, really nice field. Our Community Services Commissioner, Neil Jerry, is the voice of the conquistadors. He does an amazing job, and he asked me to spot him because he was on vacation. I believe he was on a cruise or someplace. But I thought, this is a little outside my wheelhouse, but I'll certainly give it a try. Mayor Pro Tem was an outstanding spotter. And I just have to let you know, I also would not quit my day job because that is a very, very tough position to be in. The play-by-play and getting to know the calls, trying to watch the officials when you think that they're doing a great job and everybody's screaming at them that they're not. It was a lot of fun. We had a great time. The 18th, I had my one-on-one with the city manager. And then today, this morning, with the mayor and council member Lucio, went on the tour of the new Stater Brothers down in the preserve. And wait till you get to see this place. It's amazing. You walk in, it's so open. The lighting, the ceiling is higher. It's really feels real airy inside. You're gonna love it. They have everything for everyone. So I encourage you to go down. You can go into a deli. They have fresh made sandwiches. They've got pre-made. There's so many things that the aisles are wide. And I wonder if they'll pay me for a commercial for this, but.
No.
Seriously, if you haven't been down there, grand opening is tomorrow. Go down and look at it because it's an amazing Stater Brothers. Doesn't mean that I'm gonna go down there and shop because mine is at Euclid and Schaefer, and that's a great Stater Brothers as well. But it's really neat. And then before tonight's council meeting, we had closed session. And Mayor, that is the end of my report.
Okay, Kurt. Councilmember Lucio.
The City Council workshop on accessibility on the 13th. Had a meeting with Andrew Hill regarding the general plan. Later on that afternoon, we had the Infrastructure Streets Committee meeting. On the 14th, I had a meeting with Aaron O'Leary from Lewis Communities. And on the 19th, I attended a meeting with the city manager. And then, just like the mayor and Councilmember Burton said, we attended the tour of the Stater Brothers, and he's right. They have a full-service bakery. The cakes that they have in there they have phenomenal cakes. They have sushi. They'll make you sushi. They said it's restaurant quality. They have a guy there on site that'll, if it's not already made and you want something different, he'll make it for you. If you buy fish or shrimp, they'll fry it for you and put a seasoning on it. They're catering to, two major or three major community people. They know it's a 40% population Asian, so it's got a lot of Asian food in there. So they're catering to our Asian population down there in the preserve. They're catering to the Hispanic population, so a lot of carne asada. Their meat department is phenomenal. I haven't seen a meat department as nice as that one in a long, long time. I just think, and then the store, just like Curtis said, just the entryway is just, it's large, it's stunning. The inside of the store is stunning. So I think if this is what that center is going to look like, if this is the first of what many places that are going to open in that center, I think the residents down the preserve are really, really going to have a phenomenal shopping center to be attending. And then we have more things to come. There was obviously some other places that have signed that we're not ready to release yet. But I think overall, what they've been waiting for a long, long time, they're going to get out of this center. So I look forward to it, and I think Lewis and Stater Brothers did a great job in this shopping center. So I really look forward to it. My wife's going to go down there because she likes to see everything that's new, and we're also Stater Brothers, Euclid and Schaefer, but I think she'll enjoy it down there, and they got some stuff down there that they don't have at ours, unfortunately. But I mean, if you live in Eastvale, come to Chino instead of when we used to send our Chino residents down to Eastvale. I think hopefully we're gonna draw some people from Eastvale as well. But that's all I have. Thank you.
City Manager Reich.
Thank you, Mayor. Council members, I'm really excited tonight to introduce you to a new member of our executive management team. We have a new Public Works Director who started yesterday, and she came back today. So we're really happy about that. And her name is Hei-Jin Lee, and I've asked her to say a couple words about herself. I'm not going to talk all about her. I'll let her do that.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the council. I am thrilled and honored to be here. Chino reminds me of everything that was really have a fun memories for me as a child, like picking up warm eggs from my grandparents' farm, and I used to come to, I still do. 5 years ago, I started coming to Billy's Eggs to pick up fresh eggs, even before I knew I was going to be working here. So, and I have fond memories of Seder Brothers when I was going to college at UC Irvine. 4 o'clock, they roll out warm French bread that you could buy. Used to be 50 cents when I was in college. So that dates me. A little bit about me. I have a civil engineering degree from UC Irvine, and along with master's degree. My initial focus was in transportation, and I have evolved into the first 10 years as a consultant. I learned all the technical skills necessary to be a good engineer. And the last 20 years or so has been in a municipal full-service cities, just like City of Chino. I have passion for delivering quality drinking water and providing utility services, as well as making sure that roads and parks and facilities are clean, and make sure and even all our fleet that are driven around by employees are presentable. So I have really passion for really building relationship with the community. And Mayor, your desire to provide excellent infrastructure to the community really resonates with me, and that's why I became a civil engineer. I wanted to build stuff to really make a difference in impacting quality of life for the community. So I am really thrilled to really see how City of Chino is going to grow, and I want to be a part of that exciting growth, and I want to be able to provide infrastructure for future growth without hindering any capacity issues, anything like that. I want to plan ahead for future growth for the City of Chino. I want to see it thrive. And a little bit about my family. I live in City of Brea, which is like literally just happen to skip away across the canyon. And I have my husband and I raised 2 kids. They're both in college. So we're kind of a semi empty nester, but we're hosting our senior father-in-law with us, and two labs, adopted from another family, 2 labs. City of Chino reminds me of a community that I desire to serve, because it's much like a family. And I really appreciate that, and the council's desire and the strategic plan for providing just excellent service and infrastructure really resonates with me as an engineer and as a civil engineer. So I am really honored to be here. I just want to let you know that City of Chino has excellent members of team and executive team members as well as staff. So I am just honored to be here. And thank you for the opportunity to meet you. And I look forward to meeting you and really getting to know you more. And I want to be engaged with the community events as they come up.
Well, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And if you looked at our strategic plan and our projected build out and what we need, we have a lot of things to build.
Absolutely. And I am excited to be part of it.
Well, as Amr, I'm sure, has filled you in, there are a lot of challenges in front of us.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Welcome aboard.
I'm up for it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anything else? No? Okay, City Attorney Galante.
No report tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Our new chief.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I have a few things to go over. So we're currently accepting applications for the Chief's Youth Leadership Committee. So one of the things when I was promoted to chief is finding ways to connect with our youth and our young adults. As a longtime Explorer advisor, I have a passion for youth. So we're creating this to really connect with our teenagers, our young adults. Once this committee's formed, we're going to meet quarterly. We're going to discuss a wide array of issues from law enforcement, from a state level, nationwide, what's taking place, and then the Chino Police Department and why we do what we do and the different practices we have, and listen to the concerns or the questions that our youth have. So I'm really looking forward to getting this kicked off. It's the requirements are 16 to 20 years old, at least have a 2.0 GPA if you're in high school, currently, and 2 letters of recommendation. So we're accepting these applications. They're posted on our social media platforms. Secondly, I want to just briefly talk about the 2 attacks that occurred on our officers on September 6th. I thank God that our officers were not seriously injured during this, but I want to take this opportunity to thank you, the council, in providing our officers with the funding and the support, the training, the equipment that our officers can be safe and we're able to survive these two deadly attacks. It's obviously very serious, and because of the training and equipment, we're able to be successful in them. And then just lastly, our prayers go out to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and the family of Deputy Ryan Klinkenbrummer that was tragically murdered in Palmdale on September 16th. That was horrific. It was an ambush, and I know that community in Palmdale is absolutely devastated, along with the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. So that concludes my report. I'd be willing to answer any questions if you have any.
Kevin, I do have a question, and that is, years ago, we had a senior patrol, which I thought was really successful. You know, they'd drive around and notice when garages were left open and ask people to shut them and that kind of stuff. Is there any interest at all in bringing back something for our senior population to be involved?
So I got a lot of ideas, and that even comes, and we're going away, we're going to meet next week as a command staff where we're going to talk about higher level things. One of them is we have a volunteer program we just initiated with our CERT program. That was one aspect of it. But there's another one, it's called VIPs. And it's a nationwide, it was put on by International Association Chief of Police. They have a kind of a manual how to run. It's been around for a long time. It's kind of like formally like how we used to have our CST program. Yes. It just needs to be modified, it needs to be changed. But we're gonna take a look at that VIP model and to see if that's something that we want to bring back here at the police department for our community.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
And I agree, thank God our officers weren't hurt. Dave, Chief Williams.
Mayor Pro Tem, council, staff, and community. I just have 2 things I want to share. I'm going to show it like this so the community behind me can see it. All of you have this flyer. It's for our state of the district. We're doing something very new and innovative for us this year. We've kind of taken a lead from both of our city partners and sort of followed in the spirit of what the state of the city would be like. So we're really happy that we're bringing this forward as a luncheon this year, and we would encourage any community member or council member or whoever would like to come and participate. We want to highly encourage that. The second thing I want to mention is, you know, we've talked a lot about youth today, and I think it's, I got a little bit of a message that I would like to share. It was nice to see those young men here today getting their awards, and then I didn't know that Chief Menson was going to speak about his Explore program, but the football games happened this last Friday, and they're 2 really exciting games for the local communities. You got the Milk Can, and you have the Battle of the Bone. So I was at the Battle of the Bone because my son plays there. He's a starting linebacker as a junior. He's a phenomenal athlete, and he had a phenomenal game. I'm sure that there's some other children or kids on the other side that remember his number and don't want to see him again. It was that kind of a game for him. And so I'm super proud and excited for him, but the message really is about a message for the rest of these young people, boys and girls that decide to get committed to youth sports. I received a call from an elected person to really provide me with some encouragement and accolades over the game, the physical game that my son had. But then he went on to talk about the humbleness and the humility that he saw from my son. He played this sport as well. So the point of the message is just to say, hey, young people, we as parents, we as community leaders, we appreciate your involvement in youth sports and staying focused. We know the commitment and the dedication it takes to do that, especially at the high school and high levels. And when electeds and community members are reaching out to say, hey, great game, it's a physical game, but more importantly, we appreciate your humbleness and humility. That's super, super impactful. It was impactful to me that was the one thing he focused on, especially since it was a really great game. So youth out there, know that we're looking at you. We want you to come and join the fire department, the police department, any kind of city government. We recognize the dedication, the commitment it takes to do what you're doing. And so keep up the good work, all the youth sports. And that's all I have.
Well, great comments, Dave. But I do have to say one thing about your state of the district. You're going to have a great state of the district because you just stole one of our good employees who is organizing it.
Well, yeah, I didn't. There's the undertone was there. I know that. I didn't want to say that, but we appreciate it, and we would invite you to come and see her.
Well, thank you. Okay, if there's nothing else to come to us, and we are adjourned to our regular meeting that will be held on Tuesday, October 3rd at 6 o'clock with closed session starting no earlier than 4 if necessary. With that, we are adjourned.